Welcome to my channel, Scribes. I'm here with another video to help you understand how to master one genre and why it's so darn important. Yeah, I said it. No masters of none lingering in this space. Genre is so important to master because typically we have this idea that we need to cover all of our bases. Now, our idea of professional writers is that we need to write one of every genre. And basically that's to make sure we do cover all those bases so that we're versatile and hireable. Or at least that's what we kind of told ourselves. And no one ever talks about how genre really works with our story to shape our characters and world building. Genre takes more than just picking a category and going with it. It decides the environment we pick for our world, the characters and their behaviors, basically the whole arc, and especially the plot. You didn't think it tied into all of that, did you? If you look at the career of most writers, you're gonna notice something too. M. Night Shyamalan has written The Sixth Sense, The Happening, The Village, and Split, all of which are thrillers. Horror leaning, of course, building his career as basically a man of insane and ominous plot twists. Let's talk about Mindy Kaling. The Mindy Project, The Office, Late Night, and Legally Blonde 3. She's written in the realm of comedy for all of her career, and that's what we know her for. And lastly, Father of the Bride, The Parent Trap, Lindsay Lohan edition, and The Holiday. These were all written by Nancy Meyers. We can definitely see that the theme here is comedy romance. So now that I've gone over 3 different screenwriters, you see their biggest hits were genres they stuck to. Likely the ones they were super passionate about, inevitably the ones that they spent the most time writing, and the ones that really made them a hit in all of these genres and hit the right plot points for each one just right. So let's talk about some ways we can master genre. Watching genre often. Yes, to learn means you have to do the fun part. Watch it. Take it in. Take all the details in as an audience member before you start to pick it apart as a writer. Details in a story make the genre apparent. Ask yourself questions about it. Why did you like it? What did you feel afterwards? Would you recommend it to others? Now that we had the audience experience, where you basically generalized your feelings about the movie, watch it again. Ask yourself some questions about the details that go into genre. What character was the most interesting and were they unique to the genre? What problems were created for the main character because of the genre? Who is the protagonist? Who is the antagonist? And how did the world inform the characters for the genre that it was written in? Finally, what genre was it in your opinion? Now don't cheat and look it up. It's important to know your personal take on what genre you thought the movie was before you learned what professionals defined it as. Okay, now you can take a look. What was it listed as a genre in IMDb? Sometimes I try to guess a genre and I'm completely surprised. So I take a peek at the elements that make sense as to why it was listed as something I didn't likely categorize it as in the first place. That way I do a little bit of my own research into it, just for understanding purposes. It's up to us to really take the time to analyze rather than assuming we've internalized all of this. The reason why we should pay attention to this while watching the movie the second time around is to see what the emotions evoke and how this will look once it's taken from paper to screen, sticking to one. Let's go back to the days of one at a time. I know that I don't always practice what I preach, but lately while my subgenres fluctuate, my main writing genre hasn't. I write drama romances, for the most part. Usually this is combined with sci-fi, supernatural, horror, and action. Those are the genres that I enjoy the most. But I'm going to use myself as an example as to why I have to cut back mixing genres lately. My previous experience with writing multiple genres was one of pain. I could not finish a script without constantly stopping to research in between writing because I didn't understand the genre, but wanted to really write my own twist on them. I knew that they were a set of things that were displayed in movies or books that hit on particular categories of style, the things that really defined that genre. I didn't realize that I was assuming I understood how to set up a scary scene, but didn't consider why it worked well in other movies, but it wasn't really coming to me naturally in mine. I was throwing them in because that was the genre. I didn't know their function. It was because these elements in genre interacted with a character arc differently than I expected that I realized that ghosts aren't to scare protagonists into a different perspective. They're to aid in the growth, for them to face their fears. The horror genre is about facing a fear. As a writer, I'm constantly learning too. Every genre has rules to create the effect the genre is known for and sticking to it means learning those rules so intimately that you work them into your work naturally. Now, side note, I have a problem with the word natural, by the way, because natural was used too often to show that it was learned without being taught, which no one does. I mean, you naturally walk now, but you saw your parents do it first, and then you kind of picked up and learned. So it's not as if these world-renowned writers are recognized because they just kind of knew it out of the womb. It's because they did it without people knowing the backstory of how they gained the knowledge. Too often we don't talk about it in interviews, and it gets really confusing for new writers to see that progress, but everything is learned. Just know that. So when I say natural, rewrite what natural means, because that word is crippling when you're a writer who's heard it handed out to recognized writers too often. End of tangent. Picking the one you feel at ease in. I'm not saying romance is the way to go if you hate it, you just think it's easy. Pick the one you would enjoy writing. Pick one you already lean towards when you watch movies. Or better yet, look at all of your ideas and figure out the genre you come up with the most ideas for. That's because you already have this partially understood audience perspective. The foundation of writing in a genre is going to become your knowledge base of this genre before you even wanted to write. Remember, when picking one to focus on, not one is going to pigeonhole you forever. Lately, I've been focusing on how specifically drama works. It's largely character-driven. How do they cause conflict internally that pushes outward into their lives? And this means I've been studying character work more often for that genre. So pick one and make sure to figure out what makes it stand out. What makes it tick? What are the movies that have won awards in these genres? And what are the common elements? Push boundaries, mix genres, attempt twists, and niche it up. Once you've really ironed out which one intrigues you the most, you can spice it up. Examples of genre mixing: Jojo Rabbit, which was a political satire, coming of age, and a comedy. Get Out. Horror comedy. Parasite. Thriller, comedy, drama. Crazy, right? So now you see how fun it can be and how necessary it is to make new stories with mastering genre. All of this will show you as a skilled writer. Attempting to do every type of genre and mastering none is not a good look, and will not help you with future writing projects. Also, I urge you to watch this video from Film Courage interviewing Shannon E. Johnson, CEO of The Professional Pen, a consulting agency for screenwriters. She's also a screenwriter and offers courses on writing for all. She is very enlightening and inspiring. I'll link you down below. Shannon says, not getting good at the genre of your choice can lead to you being placed in a genre you don't like if you don't choose one yourself. Now, while this is specifically for working professional writers who are being paid to staff write or have writing assignments, basically being pushed into a genre if they don't know what they want to do, it does still apply to hobbyists if you want to be able to master a genre. You are by no means meant to skip over any other genres. This is just to sharpen a skill, because we all know that you can't get the hang of doing anything if you don't dedicate time to learning it. So let's recap. Watch the genre often. Watch it often, take in all the details as an audience member before you start to pick it apart as a writer. Details in story make the genre apparent. Sticking to one. Every genre has rules to create the effect the genre is known for, and sticking to one means learning those rules intimately so that you work them into your writing naturally as possible, picking the genre you feel at ease in. Remember, we're picking one to focus on, not one to pigeonhole ourselves into forever. We ultimately want to stand out in this genre by working on understanding its every component. All of these components make the story work in this genre, and you have to become an expert at that. Push boundaries, mix genres, attempt twists, and niche it up. Once you've really ironed out which one intrigues you the most, and you've worked on how its components shape your stories, you can spice it up. Take the time to explore the genres you pick and work one at a time on them. It's gonna create a stronger story, and your rules are gonna be basically endless, because now you've got things to work with and rules you may be able to break. I'm confident you're gonna start to see really good writing in yourself by putting in the time to master one genre to add the most value to your career. That's all I've got for you guys today. I'll see you on the next one, scribes.